Hello, everyone. I'm back after a long time of not being able to make videos. So, this is a short one on a couple of commands or buttons in SolidWorks, which are in the sketch environment, instant 2D and shaded sketch contours, which you see by default, they are active. And then under features in 3D, you have instant 3D. So just wanted to clarify them because you see them and typically they are on, but what is it that exactly they are doing? So the shaded sketch contour is an interesting feature, I would call, in the fact that it shows you if your sketch is basically open or not. So if you look here right now, I have a closed contour, and inside the closed contour is what? It's shaded, right? Now, if I go ahead and delete this, you see now since the sketch is open, I can easily, because this guy is active, see that there is no shading here, so I can infer that it is open. Now you might say, well, of course it's open, but it's not always that simple. I showed you in the past that sometimes this guy can be what? This gap can be very, very small that you need a ton of zoom to be able to see that. Just look here, for instance, that this guy looks close to me. If I don't zoom in onto all of the corners, I'm not going to find that there is a gap here, right? Now, of course, I can click on the sketch repair and this should be able to find gaps smaller than some threshold for me, right? So any gap less than, for example, 32 10,000ths of an inch, find it for me, it can find it for me over there, and then I can go and look at it. But if I don't want to run this and just while working, check whether my contour is closed or not, I can have this guy active and this one can help me. So this is this one now. Instant 2D is a command that allows you to modify a 2D sketch component and just by dragging some handles. It was introduced first time in 2016, and if I want to modify something, this guy allows me to drag some handles, and let me show you that. So if the sketch is underdefined like this, whether this guy is active or not, you don't see the effect, right? Because, well, here, this option is active. I can drag this edge and resize it and change it. If I make it inactive, also I can do that, right? So I don't see a ton of difference. Now, if I go ahead and make this what? Fully defined. So here, I made this 6, I provided a radius for that arc, and I make this a corner coincident with the origin. So now, if this option is not active, right, you see clearly that I cannot change anything, okay? I cannot click on any entity or their dimensions. Now, of course, I can double click on the dimensions and change the dimensions, but I cannot find any handle on any of these corner points or the edges or the dimensions to what? To drag them and to resize or relocate the object. Now, if I go ahead and what? Change this and make it active. Now take a look. If instead of clicking on this arc, I click on what? I click on the dimension of the arc. If you look here, it gives me this blue handle here, which I can hold and drag. And now look what happens. And you see the amount of radius, the value that you currently have, it is also shown for you. So I could change a sketch that was fully defined, although I couldn't do it without this option being active, but now that it's active, I can easily what? Grab it and change it without going and changing the numbers. Now, of course, to me, it's not really a huge deal because I would rather directly type in the numbers, but some people would rather just make a shape instead of providing perfect dimensions. To them, the relative dimensions matter more than exact dimensions, right? So for them, maybe grabbing a handle and resizing something is more interesting than to type the numbers. So just wanted to tell you this instant 2D. Instant 3D is more interesting than this. So if I get this and go to features and extrude this, right? And then let's say make some holes also in it. So here I go and make a hole in this. Let's make it somewhere here. Or let's not make it perfectly concentric for the moment. And let's cut this all the way through here, right? So this is an object that I have. Now, if you look under 3D in this area here, if I show you, there is an extra option, right, under this tab here for curves and reference geometry and so on. There is this button called Instant 3D, and it's again active by default. If I not make it active, so right now it's not active. Now, if I click on any of these 3D features, can I resize them, right? Does it give me any option to make this extrude, let's say, a little bit thicker, thinner, move this hole around, or do anything? No. But if I go ahead and activate this option, right? So now it's active. Look. Now what's going to happen? If I click on this hole, now it gives me these what? It gives me these axes. And look what happens when I grab these axes and what? Move. You see, I can easily relocate the hole in the X direction, in the Y direction, right? And there is this guy here that allows me to what? Resize the diameter. So there are 3 axes for location, X, Y, and for the diameter. So I can easily what? I can easily change this hole feature without providing any direct dimension. Of course, again, this slider here will allow me to exactly see the number, right? Whether it's 0.05, 0.06, you see that green number. Also, if I click on the extrude part, this guy, it gives me some options. So if I click on this face here, it is allowing me to make this thicker or thinner. Look, you see? And it is also allowing me to move this whole extrude to the left and right, up and down. And you can do it to the other surfaces as well. Okay, so this instant 3D feature is a fast modification of 3D features without you going right-clicking on each one, going to the numbers and changing them. You can basically relatively accurately change them. Now, when I say relatively, let me tell you something. So if I click here, right, look at the extrusion. How much is it? 1.49, you see? So is the exact depth of this guy 1.49? Well, let's take a look here. You see, it's 1.4895. So it's not exactly 1.49. It's just showing 2 decimals. So if you want it very accurate, it is always necessary to right-click on these guys and change their dimensions manually. Okay? Those dragging is a relatively accurate thing, not perfectly accurate. So just wanted to emphasize that. So these are 3 of the important features for those who want to do relative modifications, not exact, but just wanted to clarify that. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'll see you in my next video.